Chupacabra, the Shadow of the Night. Chapter 1: Ominous Portents. The moon hung over the village of Santa Rosa like a ghostly eye, watching everything that happened. The nights here were especially dark and quiet, creating the feeling that nature itself was frozen in anticipation of something terrible. The inhabitants of this remote Mexican village lived simple lives, relying on their farms and livestock. But recently, strange things began to happen. Animals disappeared, leaving behind only blood and strange tracks on the ground. One night, Juan, a local shepherd, heard a disturbing noise coming from his barn. He grabbed a lantern and headed toward the source of the sound. As he approached, he noticed the barn doors were ajar. Juan froze, listening intently. Suddenly, two glowing eyes stared back at him from the darkness. A cold fear pierced him, and he realized he was facing something supernatural. Chapter 2: Lost Souls. Santa Rosa wasn't the only village suffering from mysterious attacks. Nearby settlements were also experiencing the horrors of nighttime raids. The police were powerless, as the creature responsible for these attacks left nothing behind but horrifying tracks and dead animals. Soon, the locals began to speak of the Chupacabra, a mythical creature that, according to legend, drinks the blood of animals and appears only at night. Clara, the daughter of an old farmer, started collecting stories about the Chupacabra. She was convinced that somewhere in the ancient legends lay the answers to how to stop this monster. Clara was a brave girl with a sharp mind and a determination to save her village. She spent her nights in the library, reading old books and notes left by her ancestors. Chapter 3: Shadows of the Past. In one of the old books, Clara found a mention of a ritual capable of banishing the Chupacabra. The ritual was described as a complex and dangerous process requiring rare ingredients and sacrifices. According to the book, the creature could only be summoned and banished using ancient spells known to a select few. Meanwhile, Juan, who had seen the creature with his own eyes, began to suffer from nightmarish visions. He dreamed of scenes from past centuries when similar creatures terrorized people. These dreams led him to understand that the Chupacabra was not just a myth, but a reality that needed to be fought. Chapter 4: Alliance of the Brave. Clara and Juan decided to join forces. They gathered a group of volunteers ready to search for the necessary ingredients for the ritual. Among them were Miguel, an old hunter who knew every corner of the local forests, and Maria, an herbalist skilled at finding rare plants. The journey was fraught with dangers. They had to cross deep ravines, traverse dense forests, and ford fast rivers. Every step was risky, but they were determined to save their village. Chapter 5: Trials on the Path. Their first trial came when a wild beast attacked their camp at night. Miguel, using his hunting skills, managed to drive the animal away, but the encounter showed just how dangerous their path was. Another time, they nearly drowned while crossing a turbulent river, but thanks to Clara's quick thinking, they managed to survive. As they progressed, they began to find signs of the Chupacabra's presence. Blood trails, torn animal carcasses, and those same ominous marks on the ground. Maria, studying the tracks, realized that the creature wasn't just killing for food but performing some unknown ritual. Chapter 6: An Ancient Prophecy. In one of the caves where they stopped for the night, the group found ancient wall paintings. These images told the story of the first appearance of the Chupacabra. According to the legend, the creature was summoned by an ancient shaman who sought to gain immense power. But he couldn't control the Chupacabra, and it began to terrorize his people. The cave walls also depicted a banishment ritual, which matched what Clara had found in her book. Now they knew their path was correct, and only needed to find the last ingredients and prepare for the final battle. Chapter 7: The Last Night. With all the ingredients gathered, the group returned to Santa Rosa. The villagers watched them with a mixture of fear and hope. Clara and Juan explained that they had found a way to banish the Chupacabra, but would need the help of everyone in the village. That night, the entire village gathered in the central square. A huge bonfire burned in the center, illuminating the faces of the people. Clara began to recite the spells while Maria and Miguel prepared the ingredients. Juan, holding a consecrated dagger, was ready to face the creature. Chapter 8: Encounter with Darkness. The Chupacabra appeared at the edge of the village, its eyes glowing menacingly. It moved slowly, emitting a low, threatening growl. But now it had a formidable opponent. Clara chanted the final spell, and a magical barrier surrounded the square. The creature lunged forward but was stopped by the invisible wall. Juan stepped forward and, using the dagger, delivered the first strike. The Chupacabra hissed in pain but did not retreat. The battle was fierce and uneven, but Clara continued chanting, strengthening the barrier. Chapter 9: Victory. With each strike, Juan felt the magical power of the dagger weakening the creature. Finally, the last blow caused the Chupacabra to hiss and start to dissolve into the air. The air filled with the smell of burning flesh as the creature vanished, leaving only ashes behind. The village was saved. Exhausted but happy, the villagers began to celebrate their victory. Clara and Juan knew they had achieved the impossible but also understood they must continue to protect their village and find ways to prevent the return of dark forces. Chapter 10: EU Dawn. The morning brought new hopes. Santa Rosa returned to its normal life, but now the villagers knew they could face any challenge by standing together. Clara continued her research, studying ancient books and legends to be prepared for any threat. Juan, now a village hero, trained young shepherds and hunters, passing on his knowledge and experience. Santa Rosa became a symbol of strength and unity, a place where people had defeated darkness and preserved their lives and traditions. But they knew they must always remain vigilant, for darkness never retreats forever.